The benefits of a plant-based diet for the prevention and treatment of heart disease. Written by Richard Grain. Narrated by Jonathan Frazier. Chapter 1. The heart is the powerhouse organ responsible for ensuring an adequate blood supply to all surrounding tissues. This delivery of oxygen, nutrients, and other essential cells or molecules maintains the intricate balance of reactions that sustains human life. A small threat to this system shifts the equilibrium in a direction that requires other processes to compensate at the expense of their physiological function. These adjustments initiate a waterfall of changes that can take years to surface as medical diagnoses, often when it is too late to intervene. Disruption of such an intricate system serves as the underlying cause of heart disease, as well as many, if not all, other life-threatening conditions. In ways still yet to be entirely understood, the human body houses a silent system existing in constant progression with the heart as the centerpiece for both life and death. Physiological changes to the system introduce alternative pathways that compromise the optimal functionality of the heart and blood vessels. One specific example is when circulation seeks and creates alternative routes that bypass occluded areas to supply surrounding tissues with oxygen and nutrient-rich blood. Behind and within the system of balance is a biochemical arrangement of reactions driven by the availability of reactants that are in large part supplied from one major source, the diet. Although current research findings and statistics lean toward conventional prevention and treatment, current research has offered a new perspective for the benefits of dietary interventions, particularly for the whole food, plant-based diet. A plant-based diet consists of fruit, grains, legumes, vegetables, and little to no animal foods, i.e., dairy products. Whole foods include those that have undergone a minimal amount of processing, free of artificial and other additives that distract the body from obtaining their original nutrient composition upon digestion. An example of this distinction is seen in white bread, which has ultimately been processed to a point where the product has lost a majority of its whole wheat nutritional value. This book will examine the role that such an alternative diet may have in the prevention and treatment of heart disease. Overview of heart disease. The cardiovascular system is responsible for a multitude of functions that extend well beyond the scope of this analysis. However, a brief description of cardiac physiology is called upon for references in this book to be understood in terms of disease. As the driving feature behind blood circulation to all tissues, the heart must be able to produce enough mechanical force to pump blood through the entire circulatory system. This force is provided by the contraction of cardiac muscle within the walls of the heart. In an average lifetime, the human heart will beat about 3 billion times. These muscle fibers also need an adequate supply of oxygen-rich blood, supplied by the coronary arteries to meet myocardial demand. The coronary vasculature should provide the heart with sufficient blood circulation to allow the organ to function properly. When structural changes within the blood vessels occur, such as constriction or hardening of coronary vessel walls, the heart no longer receives the necessary supply of oxygen it needs for the myocardium to contract. As time passes without intervention, the heart adjusts until it can no longer meet the needs of both its own tissues and those of the entire body, at which point myocardial ischemia causes angina, potentially leading to myocardial infarction. During the time it took to read the beginning of this paragraph, one human coronary artery circulation was cut off. Blood flow to an area of heart muscle tissue ceased, and tissue died, resulting in a heart attack. This lack of oxygen supply to cardiac muscle can quickly jeopardize the heart's ability to pump blood to peripheral vasculature, including the brain. Within seconds, cerebrovascular blood supply ceases and irreversible neurological damage occurs. By the time this page has been read, roughly 4 Americans will have suffered a heart attack, and an additional 4 will have had a stroke and succumbed to heart failure. On the next
Sample complete. Ready to continue?